Welcome to the channel. This video was filmed during our flight from Lancaster, Ohio to Kansas City, Kansas in my 2006 Cessna Turbo 182. In this video, you'll see what I saw as the pilot. In this short snippet before we crank the engine, you'll hear two things. You'll hear me turning on the master power breaker, and then you'll hear me priming the engine. And the noise that you hear is the fuel pump. Once the priming is complete, I start the engine. Once the engine starts, I power up the Stratus and ensure it is connecting to my iPad. I load the flight plan in the plane's autopilot. I enter in the initial set of Columbus and Indianapolis Center radio frequencies. I set the heading bug and my desired altitude. All this will take a few minutes, but also notice the snow on the ground. It's January. I'm also allowing the engine and the cockpit time to warm up. As initial preparation completes, we pull away from the FBO and head toward the runway. This movement of the plane is called taxiing the aircraft. Taxiing is always conducted very slowly, and we were very careful not to go too fast or hit anything. It's surprisingly easy to run off a taxiway into the grass. We're approaching the run-up area. It's just ahead on the right. In the run-up area, we perform our final checks. You may not know, but in a piston aircraft engine, there are two sets of ignition plugs and a separate magneto or a mag driving each set of plugs. When we run up the engine, we increase the RPM of the engine. For my plane, it's 2,000 RPM. Then we cycle through each of the mags. We're looking for a small decrease in RPM to about 1850 to 1900 RPM when we cycle through each mag, and full RPM when we are running both mags. As you might imagine, engine run-up is one of our critical checks before takeoff. It gives us an indication that the engine will handle the higher RPM, that both mags are working, and the engine monitoring indicators are functioning. We also turn on our lights, check our brakes, verify our initial heading, and make our radio calls. Once finished with the run-up, we head for runway 28. As we line up on the center line, we make our last radio call and head down the runway. As we move down the runway, we check airspeed, fuel, altitude, attitude, heading, and a host of other items. We need to catch anything that is not working before we reach our takeoff point. And then, liftoff. We are off the runway and into the air, flying the plane. As we leave the runway, pilots are very focused on making sure everything continues to work. Many of my pilot friends have a no talking rule during takeoff, roll, and liftoff. No talking allows them to focus entirely on the plane during this transition from the ground into the air. Died around the Lancaster airport. Early January in central Ohio means a little snow, but not the deep stuff. As you can see, we fly over a lot of farms. Flying in winter is very pleasurable. Typically the air is very smooth, and because the air is so dense, the plane performs wonderfully. We're headed west at this point. The runway was 28, which means it was on a heading of 280 degrees. We continue our climb and start into the clouds. This is why we are on an IFR flight plan. Flying in the clouds requires a lot of additional training that teaches you to trust and rely on your instruments. As we climb through the cloud layer, we are in IFR conditions for only a few minutes. We break out around 5,000 feet, and as you can see, we have a layer of clouds below the plane, and there is another higher layer of clouds above us. After a couple of minutes, we turn from our initial heading of 280 to a heading of 274 degrees as we climb up to 6,000 feet. We make this turn to clear the Rickenbacker class Delta airspace south of the Columbus metro area, and as we head westward, we will fly south of Wright-Patterson, but north of the Covington class Bravo airspace. Watching now is what any pilot truly wants, an uneventful flight. Now that doesn't mean the pilot sits there and does nothing. A pilot in flight is attentive to their situation. We call it situational awareness. We need to know where we are, whether there is anything close to us, be it another aircraft, clouds, weather, regardless. In the cockpit, we're watching our heading, our airspeed, ground speed, where we are from a navigation perspective, our altitude, our attitude, and the engine monitors and fuel flow. Pilots are always on the lookout for other planes, even when they're on the ground. And while in the air, we are always listening to air traffic control to be able to react if and when ATC speaks the call sign of their aircraft. For our flight to Kansas City, we are on an Instrument Flight Rules or IFR flight plan. This means that ATC is controlling us. What it really means is that ATC has accepted the responsibility to work in concert with the pilot to ensure that we stay clear of other aircraft. They do this in the planning stage to ensure that we don't plan to be in a path that could result in a close encounter with another aircraft, and in the flight stage to give us instructions to turn us away from other planes that might get too close. There's more to it than that, but that's the gist of an IFR flight plan. By the way, those lines that are crossing your screen are caused by the propeller as it spins. It's an optical illusion, but it's a good optical illusion. Now, because this section of the video is a couple of hours long actually, I'm going to speed things up so it won't take you that much longer to get to where we land. I've speeded up the video to about 5 times its normal speed, so it means now we are traveling about 600 miles an hour. Oh, that would be wonderful in my plane. At this speed, we will get to Kansas City much faster than normal. You will notice that the horizon seems to tilt from time to time, to the left or to the right. And that is the plane turning to a new heading, so that's perfectly normal. And it's something we need to do periodically to stay on the flight plan that we have. From time to time, you will see dark spots in the cloud layer below the plane. Those are holes in the clouds where you can actually see the ground. That is because the clouds are white and the ground is a darker color. By the way, I'll just kick in here. Clouds are not clean. The dirtiest my plane ever got was when we were going through the clouds. Clouds have a lot of particles in them, and because they're moist, they wet the outside of the plane, and all of those particles, dirt and whatever, stick to the side of the plane. So the plane gets relatively dirty as it flies through the clouds. Now it's time to slow the film down as we approach our destination. From this point, the video is actually the speed of our approach and our landing. The airport is off to our left. As we continue the approach, we will make a left turn to base, then another left turn to final as we line up with the runway for landing. In this case, we land on runway 9. After landing, we will taxi to the gas pumps to fill up our tanks, and we have reached our destination. We hope you have enjoyed the video. When we complete our turn to final, the runway should be directly ahead of us. As it happens sometimes, we come out of our turn a little right of the runway, so you will see me bring the plane left a little bit to line up with the runway. We will then stay on this heading until we land on runway 9. Once landed, we will taxi to the gas pumps to fill up the tanks to continue our trip. In our next video, we will fly from Kansas City to Texas. That's all we have for you today. I hope you have gained a new insight on what it is like to fly a small airplane. We've enjoyed having you with us as we've flown from Lancaster, Ohio to Kansas City, Kansas. I hope you will join us again for the next leg of our flight down to Texas. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave us a comment if you choose. It doesn't cost you anything, but it makes such a difference to us and it helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching our video and have a great day.